Hello, my selfies. Welcome back to another episode of Chief of Self. I missed you guys. I know that it's only been a week, but I have been enjoying recording these podcasts so immensely. They just light me up in a way that I just feel like a lot of my other content hasn't been lately. So thank you for listening so that I can get to record these every single week. Someone DM'd me the other day saying, I love your podcast. It feels like listening to a friend. Like your energy just shifts my energy. And that is what we're going for. All right, girlies, selfies, if you will. That is what we're going for. I want this, again, to feel like a voice note, to feel like you're on a walk with your friend, but you're listening to her 30-minute voice note. That is the energy. And I hope that you leave with a little inspiring tip, if you will. Okay. This past weekend, I went on a glorious, and I mean glorious, weekender. As I mentioned in episode 1, going on mini getaways, little mini trips is part of my highest self. This is something that I aspire to. You know, big trips are amazing, but they're very rare, maybe once a year. So I like to do these mini weekend trips as often as I can. And Ben June had actually found this hotel called Captain Whidbey. It's on Whidbey Island, north of Seattle. It's an island north of Seattle. You guys know I love the Pacific Northwest. It's October, it's fall, and I really wanted to lean into that cozy fall energy. And let me tell you, we did, okay? This is the most charming, not only island, but the inn that we stayed at was like log cabins. It felt like I was like a captain that was on a sea journey that had to stop in for the night because there was a storm a-brewing. Like, that's the vibe, okay? The first day we got there, the weather was out of control, immaculate, like blue skies, 60 degrees, which is my heaven. But then it was raining really the rest of the trip, which is fine. It's the Pacific Northwest. It's what we know and love about it. But wow, what a restorative and nervous system reset that was. Things worth sharing. Oh my God, Nobody Wants This season 2 is out. So I'm recording this the day before like the actual season 2 comes out. But I don't know if you saw my Instagram, but Camber was asked to be on the red carpet of the season 2 premiere. I'm going to hold for applause. I'm going to hold for a little snapping session. Pinch me moment beyond pinch me moments. And yes, I did meet the Adam Brody, the Seth Cohen. I was breathing his same air. And I got to ask him a question. He was very, in high demand, of course, as you can imagine. But I was able to sneak in a little question there at the end. And I'm so excited for you guys to see the content. That was so exhilarating and fun for me. And with Camber, we've been doing a lot more of these hosting red carpet gigs, which I love to do. We're actually doing one with HBO next week. So I don't know where my life is taking me right now, but I'm just going with it, okay? And the red carpet stuff feels so aligned. I love to razzle and dazzle, as you may know, and Nobody Wants This is my favorite show of all time. So it was just the perfect synergy, and I can't wait to binge the entire season. Also, we got to watch the first 2 episodes at the premiere, so I have seen a little bit, and we are in for a treat. Let me just say that. We are in for a treat. All right, let's dive in to the topic at hand. So I was asked this the other day, and I literally can't stop thinking about it. How do I know when it's time to push through versus pause and rest? So this is the loop that goes on in my head when I think about this question. I want to take a beat, but does that mean that I'm lazy? Or I want to take a step back, but does that mean that I'll lose momentum? But if I push through, am I sweeping things under the rug? Or, sometimes when I do power through, it does feel good because then I can show that I'm showing up for myself, but and that I could do hard things, but which one is it? There's this ping-ponging in my head, which I'm sure you relate to as well. And then today I want to explore that gray area. So when do you actually know when it's time for your body to push through versus let's take a step back. Let's recalibrate. So this mental tug of war happens constantly, daily, if you will, for me. Definitely while building my startup Camber, the intrinsic motivation you need to have when you build a business is wild. Like, you need to push through so often that it's kind of hard to know when you're teetering on burnout because you're just pushing. And in the beginning, that might be a great way to get things off the ground. But as you scale and as you build a sustainable business, you can't just be teetering on the edge of burnout all the time. So we're 4 years into Camber, and now I'm really having this like internal discussion with myself of, when do I actually need to push through and when is it time for me to take a step back? I noticed this tug of war also happening when I overbook myself with networking opportunities or just social commitments as well. A big goal of mine in 2025 was to network more and build my network. And I think I've done a great job at that because I've been saying yes to so many things, which is amazing. But at times you can overcommit yourself, which I do a lot because there's so many amazing opportunities. There's so many people I want to meet, and I don't want to schedule them out like 3 months ahead because that seems insane. I sometimes, when I have to say no to someone, I feel like I'm failing at my goal of networking more because I'm letting myself down. So there's that tug of war in that sense. And then there's also in my personal life, right? Like, am I showing up as a present wife, sister, daughter? Am I checking in on my family as often as I want to? Am I actually being super present when I'm spending time with them? Am I not avoiding those really hard conversations? Okay, you know the ones. I always find that when I push through uncomfortable feelings and really sit with those hard conversations. I've had to do many of them over the past couple years. I swept a lot under the rug growing up, and the past couple years I've really kind of forced myself to have these really tough conversations with my parents, with my sister, and I will tell you that every single time afterwards I feel this immense sense of relief, but also it's like our relationship grows deeper. You know, sometimes when you're avoiding these hard conversations, you're like, okay, let's just keep them all nice and dandy. Like, it's fine. Let's just let's not even touch that. Then it builds and builds and builds to a breaking point. Whereas having those ongoing tougher conversations, yeah, they might feel uncomfy in the moment, but I guarantee you then prolong the peace of the relationship for longer. Does that make sense? I don't know. Every time I have a tough conversation, I leave it and more abundance comes to me and the relationship is just deeper. I always find that. So that's kind of a motivation to have the hard conversation, is knowing on the other side, oh my God, there's abundance, there's love, there's deeper connection on the other side. That's a really good reminder for me all this time. Anyways, so there's obviously this shame loop that's happening. I feel guilty no matter what I choose, because if I rest, then I'm lazy. But if I work, then I'm ignoring my emotions, which why is it all or nothing? But we are human and we have the all or nothing bias in us. So I feel afraid to admit this at times, but I am extremely anti-hustle culture. It definitely glorifies that pushing through at all costs, especially when it comes to startups. But when I think about wellness culture on the other side of the spectrum, that kind of glorifies rest. And then that leads to avoidance, right? So there's these opposite ends of the spectrum that I find myself, again, there's this tug of war between, because I want to push through and be productive and get shit done. But then I also want to feel gentle with myself and peace and ease, right? But how do we decipher between which one we need in the moment? Or how do we even integrate the two? So we're gonna talk about it. Something I've found very, very helpful. I've been reading this book called How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LaPerla. It's all about embodiment, all about tuning in to your body awareness. This is a topic that I heard Sammy Clark first talk about on her podcast. I think I've been doing this type of work, but didn't know what it was called. But I've been doing it a lot with To Be Magnetic, just because it has you really become in tune with your body during their audio sessions. But she recommended this book on her podcast when she was talking about embodiment. And a practice I've taken from the book is when you are struggling with this loop, right? Should you push? Should you pause? Sitting down. And I know it's going to sound, like blah, 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 but sitting down, really getting quiet, and without rational thought, without logic, like actually and honestly tuning into your body. I know that sounds, again, I know it sounds so cliche, and I know you're like, what the fuck does that mean? But if you just even sit there and just I think about like my organs. Like I think about the blood in my body. I know it's kind of crazy, but I just want to get like out of the mind, out of the monkey mind, and just feel like, oh, I have bones. I have blood rushing through my body. Like there's a heart here. There's a liver. Where's a liver? I don't know. There, I think about all of my parts, if you will, because then you actually feel into your body. You become inside of it. And from that space, you ask yourself, like, what do I need? Don't judge whatever comes up, okay? Because again, we're going to try to rationalize it. You're going to try to put all this intellectual stimulus around it. None of that, all right? We're talking about embodiment. It might not make sense in the moment, but you will know what your body is trying to tell you when you get really still and really honest with it. So sometimes when I do this practice, it leads to tears, which most times it does. Other times it could lead to just me wanting to lay down and take a few deep breaths. It may lead to me going and jumping on my little mini trampoline, again, getting out the stagnant energy, really getting into your body. And it could also mean putting on a timer for 20 minutes and doing one task. This is the Pomodoro method. I swear by it. I actually think it's 25 minutes. You're supposed to put a timer on, do the task with no distractions for 25 minutes, and then 5 minutes off. So then at that time, I'll like go to the bathroom or make a cup of tea or do not scroll on your phone. And basically, if you do that Pomodoro like 4 times, so it's around like 2 hours of deep work, that's really, really like that's a great goal to achieve. So for me, I like to put on the timer because you tend to, once you're just in the flow, once you start, you kind of don't want to stop after that. Like the hardest part is just starting and getting into that flow, and the timer forces you to get there. And then once you're in the flow, you're like, oh, I could just keep going. So that's a huge, huge hack for if you're just like, I cannot push through, but I kind of want to, and I know I'll feel better afterwards. Put on the timer. I promise you, it is such a life hack. It kind of like tricks your brain a little bit. But again, it's not about choosing between doing nothing and doing everything. I think I've confused the two in my brain a lot when it comes to this topic, where it's like, oh, well, if I, wasn't productive all day, then the day's shot. It's like, what? No. Or if I had a slow start to the morning, I'm like, oh, well, I didn't do anything, so I might as well not do anything else. What? Like, why do we think in absolutes? That's just, again, your brain is playing tricks on you and you're smarter than it, okay? It's really just being in tune with what you need in that moment to moment, and it does not have to be all or nothing. So let's talk about pushing through. I want to talk about the times when pushing through actually does help, and action will break up that stagnation. So I mentioned this about whenever I need to have like a tough conversation with someone and then I feel immediate relief. I also feel this with procrastinating tasks. So anytime there's something looming, and the thing, right? The email that you haven't written, but it's just sitting there and you have to write it. The task that has been on your to-do list for weeks. The creative project that you want to start, but you just like don't know, and you're just like, oh, okay, another week. You know what it is. When you just even take the smallest step forward and progress towards it, immediate relief. There is something, you just, again, need to get the momentum going and get into that flow. Always reminding yourself that the start is the worst part, okay? I understand it. I'm with you. Like, starting fucking sucks, right? Every time. Once I get into the flow, once it just kind of gets the ball rolling and the momentum, it's an incredible relief. Through this whole conversation, I find that there's a difference between avoiding emotions and moving through them. So when you're bulldozing through your task list or through your emotions, that's ignoring them. Like, you're ignoring your emotions. You're having this like brute force to just be like, I gotta keep going. Da, da, da. That is ignoring your emotions. That's sweeping it under the rug. But moving through them is acknowledging them and then taking gentle action. Why does that feel like so much better? Just being like, hey, sadness. Hey, I recognize you're here. What's up? Missed you, girl. And you're totally fine for being here. Love that for you. Right now, I want to complete this one task. And it's okay if you hang out with me for a little bit, stay by my side. Awesome. But I'm going to complete this, if that's all right with you. And then let's go for a little walk after I do my 25 minutes here. Bam. Gentle action, moving through, acknowledging, not ignoring. That is the key. And it's so hard to do in the moment. I totally recognize that. But it is something that will help you time and time again. It's also a concept from internal family services. Gabby Bernstein talks a lot about this. She has a new book called Self-Help that's all about this, but it's basically talking to your different parts internally. So the sadness would have been like one part of you that you're talking to, and then you're able to continue to push through, even though the thing is still present. So I like to reframe productivity as self-trust. When I push through with compassion, not force, it's me showing myself that I can show up. All right. It's compassion, not force. Those are the key words here. All right. Now let's talk about when you're on the edge. Oh, we know it well. Oh, yeah, baby. We're all on the edge. We're all on the edge of burnout, and it's not fun. Okay. It is. I don't know when that became like a badge of honor, but I never want to feel on the edge. I do quite a bit lately. And it's something I don't brag about. I don't want that to be my story. And so let's talk about what to do when you're at the edge. All right, so these are tips of recognizing the difference between burnout and procrastination. So number one, you're going to check your body first, not your to-do list. What did I just say? You are going to tune in. Do that little exercise where you actually feel into your body, your internal body. Like literally, like I kind of look inwards as if my eyes are like soaring into the midline of my body. Does that make sense? It's like I'm like peering inside to the body, and then I ask myself on that from that space what I need. I also ask myself, am I tired or am I scared? Huge distinction, because am I tired? Let's take a rest. Let's take a beat. I'll come back to this later. I have the motivation. Am I scared? Then I have to push through. Like, this is not about, no fear is stopping us ever, okay? Fuck fear. Honestly, if I'm scared, I'm going to push through even harder. Like, that is the signal to push through. So asking yourself that and knowing the difference is key. Number two is to notice your self-talk. If you are being shame-driven, it's probably burnout. If you are being curiosity-driven, that is like some resistance we can work with, right? So I always like to shift my mindset and my whole way of life, I don't know, my inner dialogue to being curiosity driven. When I'm frustrated, when I'm at a standstill, when I feel like I'm stuck, instead of just being like, ugh, I can't do it. Like, ugh, it's just too much. Or like, I don't know the answer, Curiosity, like, oh, interesting. What would this look like if solving this problem was easy? What resources do I have at my disposal? Oh, is there someone I can ask that has been through this before that might have insights for me? So approaching it with curiosity rather than like, oh, it's I can't figure it out, I'm done, and walking away. So that's like resistance and discomfort that you can work with if it's curiosity driven. Number 3, look for patterns. So if every task feels impossible, then it's probably burnout, right? So even if the smallest task, like for me, when I have to just like go through our DMs on Camber and respond to them, or if I need to edit a video, and even just that makes my skin crawl, and there's something where I put like such pressure around this tiny task that is not big at all. That's when I know we're teetering on burnout, because we're like, okay, I could do this in my sleep. Why is this feeling so heavy right now? So that's a good indication. But if one task feels heavy, but you have energy otherwise, then that's probably procrastination, right? If you're like doing a lot of other busy work, whatever, but you're just putting off this one task that you don't really want to do, that's procrastination. That's not necessarily burnout, but that's a moment where you can be honest with yourself and say, okay, we're going to push through. We're going to put the Pomodoro, the 25 minutes, and get to the big task, because the busy work is going to lead to burnout eventually. I promise you. Okay, number 4, you're going to ask yourself, will doing this make me feel more regulated or more depleted? Are you going to get energy from it? Are you going to feel so amazing afterwards, right? That is something I think about a lot when there's a task that it's looming and I don't really want to tackle it. I just think about, oh my God, when I solve this, because I will, when I solve this, what is on the other side for me? Magnetism, abundance, showing myself that I can show the fuck up and work hard and figure things out. Like that, building that trust muscle with myself. So thinking about that. But if you feel like it's going to deplete you, that's actually a good indication that this is something you should outsource. So for me, I get really depleted from editing content. So that's something that for Camber and for my personal, I have someone where I send the footage to, I tell them I give them guidance and they edit it for me. So those are things where I outsource when I know that it's going to deplete my energy. Okay. The other thing I feel like people always say is the only way is through. But as we have been talking, when people say that, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, if you're going through it, like, again, are you going through it with brute force that you're just ignoring all of your emotions, just like pushing? Or are you moving through with the emotion present? So it goes back to like the acknowledge the feeling and then moving with it with gentle action. Gentle action. That is like, I need to get that tattooed to like my face. Move through with gentle action. All this discussion, everything honestly that I talk about on this podcast, there is no perfect formula. That is something I preach with any recommendation I share, anything I tell you about, or any mindset shift that I share. There is no perfect formula. This is going to take so much trial and error. This is going to be something that you really, moment to moment, need to tune into your body and understand what it needs. And it takes so much practice. I mean, I am learning this on a daily basis. So don't think that I'm an expert at this. I'm just sharing some of the tools that have helped. And that's because they've compounded over time, because I do them time and time again, over and over. So next time you're caught in that loop of like, should I push or should I pause? I want you to try asking yourself, what would feel most compassionate right now? Not easiest, not most productive, most compassionate. Because that's where we're really getting to, right? It's compassion for yourself, honoring your feelings, honoring your body. And if pushing through is what is the most compassionate, fucking go for it. Yes, we love it. Like, take the action, the gentle action that's right for you. All right, a short takeaway closing note. Something that I do that's very tangible that I've implemented into my daily life is I put a reminder on my phone for every 3 hours. It's called Conscious Reminder. It pops up on my phone and I might be in a meeting, I might be filming content, whatever, but it is just quick, like a couple seconds. It's not much time at all. A couple seconds to be like, oh, right. I'm here. This is my body. Where am I? Look around my surroundings. Maybe take it in as if I'm seeing it for the first time, and just like being so conscious and present. It is one of the best little tips that I've implemented these past couple months. Again, they're super quick. You just do a quick conscious check-in with yourself. It just reminds you to get back into your body and feel into that present moment. Anyways, that is all for this week. I love you dearly, and I am so, so grateful that you're here with me. If you would like to rate and review the podcast, it does help quite a bit. So I would love to hear from you, to hear any feedback, to hear how you guys are liking it. Tag me if you're listening. It really, really makes my day. And I will see you next week.